So I think there's like 5,400 people out there that were probably thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? Trying to swing with a guy like Todd Duffee. Was that the plan going in? And it obviously worked out pretty well.
Well, I mean, I've been boxing in the gym with professional boxers, so I've been seeing shots come at me and seeing things, absorbing a lot of things, and I'm learning how to move with the shots, absorb power, and how to redirect it. I was trying to be more intelligent, but today my emotion got the better of me leading up to the fight, and I just bit down my mouthpiece and wanted to make a statement that, you know, I kept hearing old and crafty, so I guess I was kind of dumb tonight, and I just decided to show young and brash.
So that's kind of what I asked Dave earlier. I mean, this is kind of like the everything old is new again heavyweight division in the UFC with you and Andre Arlovsky guys we thought were kind of, you know, maybe past their prime, and you're proving that a lot of us were wrong.
Yeah, I think heavyweights mature later in life. You know, you see in the college wrestling and whatnot, you don't see a lot of freshmen in the heavyweight division becoming NCAA champions like you do in the other weight classes. So I think that you see it a lot of times that we come upon ourselves older. And you know, now with my new training, I mean, Ricky Lindell's completely taken over as a head coach. I had a booklet at the beginning of the camp, all of us did, explain exactly what we're going to do each day of the camp, 8 weeks out. Why, photos of what Todd was doing in his past fights, percentages. That's why I keep naming him Moneyball. Then with Angelo Reyes as a boxing coach, has really rejuvenated my thirst in really learning boxing, going into the boxing gyms and sparring boxing with boxers, not trying to use MMA and sit there and go, well, I'm going to do this, which now I think I need to do a little more MMA sparring also, because tonight I kind of reverted just into pure boxing. I threw a couple knees and I actually felt a little with throwing them because in practice I've been so boxing, but then it paid off in the end. I saw him really winging the punches, and so I just sat back and loaded my left hand, Pacquiao type overhand left, and just caught him.
And obviously, like a year ago, you were telling us yesterday you were considering the possibility of kind of walking away from things. How glad are you now that that was the case?
No, I'm glad. I really was. After the overeem fight, I was figuring, you know, why keep putting my family through this? Not everybody ever going to contest that being a professional athlete, fighter is an extremely selfish position. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it has to be. If we don't put ourselves first in our training, and our loved ones really have to take a second seat, then we're not going to be up here at this table in the winning area. And so, you know, to go through all the hardships we're going through and keep coming up short, it's draining mentally and emotionally. But the wife was very smart. She told me to take time off and just get back to general fitness. I did, and then, you know, like I said, I was able to do a yoga class with her, which I wasn't able to do that for a while. And so, you know, like I said, with the people I have around me, I'm feel rejuvenated. I have great training partners that show up every day. James Hoare, Todd Price, Zach Singer, a college player, the UNLV, 310-pound monster, you know, laying on me all the time. You know, and then going in there, you know, Don House allowed me to work with his boxers and spar with them. That's a huge privilege, going there, Roy Jones Jr.'s in the corner watching, you know, after the sparring match, ask for his advice. So I guess I just keep it to where I'm still very youthful, very much of a kid, and love, enjoy learning. Everybody can see that even after 14 years in the UFC, I'm constantly trying to improve. I think a lot of guys sit back on the merits and just, I have records, I'm in the Hall of Fame, what more? I don't know, I'm not satisfied with that. Yeah, I always felt that Todd is, you know, we were all playing cards as a +10 in power, +10 speed, and the guys, all offense. I've always questioned his defense on his movement, and I think a lot of guys, they see that overwhelming power, and they step back and give him room. He's such an explosive athlete. The guy has one heck of a vertical, can deadlift, you know, incredible amounts of weight. So if you sit there and take a right hand from him and you step back, it actually allows him to hit you that much harder. So I try to take the key out of boxing, which is, you know, constantly slip punches and move forward. And even when he did hit me, one thing I've learned now sparring hard with boxing, which you probably attest to, wearing headgear and smashing, having partners, they don't just land one and go, oh, are you okay? They land 2, 3, 4 shots, and boxing is pretty much that. You might land one, but I'm going to land still a shot at the end of the combo and come back. We're going to fight and move. So it's not really pointish. Sometimes in MMA we kind of get into that thing where I hit you, hey, are you okay? And I've avoided that kind of sparring where once I spar, I mean, it's from bell to bell, it's to the death. You know, we're trying to hurt each other, and that gives me that training that if I get caught with a shot like Todd tonight, I can roll and move around, and I can keep my eyes on him knowing what more is coming after him. Whereas in the past, I might have taken one shot and sat there taking the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and that's when, heck man, heavyweights hit hard.
And obviously a big win for you, and this is a question that you guys get all the time, right after a big win, but do you have any idea of what this means for you? Because obviously this is a big turnaround. You were on a skid and now you're on a winning streak. Do you have, what's next for you?
Hopefully I don't have to answer any more of my retire questions. And we can end that for a little while. No, like I said earlier in the Fox interview, I fight for the same reason that I fought first time 14 years ago. And I'm a martial artist and I want to prove myself. And I have to have something more than just lip service and go in the gym and train a little bit. There's guys that are like that. I'm not satisfied with that. So I put myself against some of the hardest elements. Fighting here against other professional fighters is scary. It's nerve-wracking, but it tests who I am. It puts me to the brink of my emotion and the brink of my mind. So when I crash, even if I fail or I succeed, there's that next day in the gym, I can look at it and go, well, what can I do to make myself better as a person inside and outside the octagon? And this is the turmoil that I put myself. This is my furnace. This is my stone. So really, I think the same thought I had 14 years ago when I walked in the UFC was, let me see what I'm made out of, and then let me improve upon it when I'm done.
You know, we're very much right in front of you. We're very much prisoner of the moment in MMA. You know, you lose a couple, maybe you should retire, you win a couple, man, you're back in the title race.
Talk about being as only good as your last fight. It's never been true in this sport.
Is it an emotional roller coaster to go through that, though, even at this experience level, to kind of go from where, you know, guys like me or guys like us are talking about, man, maybe you should retire now. Man, we'd like to see you against, you know, Arlovsky or these other guys in a title contender fight. That's a big roller coaster.
It is, and it's hard because I've gone from both sides of the extreme. Very young when my career started out, I listened to what everybody said, and it affected me. And then I went to the other side of the extreme where probably people can attest, a couple years ago, you brought it up, I was a dick. You know what I mean? Like, you know, people would talk to me and I was like very off-putting and I didn't want to talk to anybody from the media, and I was very closed off. And so I've gone now back in the middle where I have to listen to what people are saying, and I just have to, yeah, some things sting, or that's a little sensitive, you know, but at the same time there might be truth behind it, and it's a perspective from the outside. So I look at that perspective and then I break it down. I'm very analytical about it, and I try to use critical thinking. I'll bounce it off people around me, I'll look at it, you know, if there's merit behind what they're saying, and then can I improve upon it? Is something I can work with.
And, you know, going into this, we know that you were originally hoping for Brock Lesnar before this fight came up. So it was understandable that maybe Todd Duffee wasn't the first name on your list of guys you wanted to face. You're a future Hall of Famer, lots of guys you could have faced. But do you still feel like you proved a big point with that kind of a knockout, that kind of performance, no matter who it was against?
Right, that's why I trained so hard for this fight with my training staff, and pushed and put myself out there against some of the people that I pushed myself against. Was that I had to make it to where my victory wasn't going to be about who I had it over, or what kind of victory it was. So I wanted to make a statement with my performance so that overrode the fact that Todd Duffee was an opponent I didn't want. Why? The guy isn't ranked, and he's capable of knocking you out. There's a lot of heavyweights in the top 10 that could face him if they fight each other more than once. One of those times he could knock them out in a minute. The guy is very heavy-handed, very explosive, and he comes out strong and hard. So it was a huge gamble, and then he's not ranked, so by winning, going out there grinding out a decision, you know, 5 rounds, or maybe he fatigues and gets tired after a couple minutes and he looks bad, and I just capitalize on it and take him down and choke him, and then they're like, yeah, you didn't look that great, you didn't look that great against Todd Duffee. So that was what I was worried about. And like I said, the risk was there. The guy's 240 pounds, shredded, wearing 4-ounce gloves. It hurts to get hit by it. It didn't feel good.
I'm going to be the guy to ask the question, Frank. You've fought a lot of legends in your career. You've tapped out Antonio Nogueira. You've obviously knocked out Mirko Krokop. I'm sure you saw the news. Fedor Emelianenko is talking about coming back. Considering all the Pride legends you have faced, is that something, if it ever came together, that you would be interested in?
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of respect for Fedor. I think he just had a couple bad fights there because the guy had 30 fights, which just ran through everybody. I think maybe he questioned himself and had some doubt and kind of basically did what I did. He's taken some time off and probably refound himself. And that guy's a martial artist. He wasn't out at the gym. I'm sure he's in there still training sambo and moving around. The guy is a very powerful, explosive, and very savvy fighter. An opportunity to face him would be a huge, huge honor. I think the guys out there is, you know, I might just on a selfish side want him to face somebody first so he can showcase to everybody that he's still a monster and a scary dude. Remind maybe the modern fans of who Fedor is. And after that, then yeah, that would be, you know, I faced a lot of the greats over there from, you know, Pride, you know, Nogueira being one of them, Krokop, phenomenal fighter who now is also making a rejuvenation of his career. So going out there and facing somebody like Fedor, absolutely.
This type of wild fights gives you the motivation to try to climb back for the title.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that we've seen him looking for Lisa Verdun. I think he's a phenomenal inspiration of everybody else in the division. At one point, he was cut from the UFC, you know, and then the only reason why he got back is they bought out the organization and they took over the contract, and he started from the bottom and worked his way up. And look at the guy. It goes out there, and the only guy that put him in a finish, and finish him off. And he's 37 years old, so if anybody thinks that your career's over with, I think you're seeing now that as long as you have the heart to stand up against the criticism and not quit, you can improve and get better. The only way you guarantee failure is to just not show up. And so, you look at a lot of guys out there now, Ben Rothwell, look at his research he's just made. Andre Arlovsky, I mean, 7 or 8 years ago, people were probably talking about him retiring even worse than I was, just because he got a couple 20-second knockout he received. He went out there and it just looked like Andre was done. And now the guy's up there for a title shot. Came back in there, big fights, he would beat Shaw, comes back, takes out Bigfoot Silva in 2 minutes in Brazil, which I'm telling you, it's not easy to go down and fight in hostile territory against the hometown guy. And he goes out there, and now he just had, I train with Travis. Travis is a phenomenal fighter, I hope to avoid him until one of us has a title. Go out there and have a win against him in the first round the way they did, and what I think would be a candidate for fight here, especially in the heavyweight division, the most explosive fights I've seen in a long time. So going out there and saying the title shot, well, why not? Go out there, keep improving, step forward. The only way I guarantee that I won't get that title shot, I decide to retire and quit, and I lose interest.
Thank you. A lot of people are saying that at 262, what's he doing? He's coming on a little heavier than his previous couple fights, but it had been explained to us through your coaches that you were actually more agile, more flexible. Can you make sense of that to everybody that was kind of harping on the fact that you may have come in a little more overweight than you?
Well, I think in the past I listened to people about what I looked like and would try to diet like a bodybuilder and try to look a certain way. And I was so concerned with that, I wasn't concerned with performance. And same thing in the gym, sometimes I lifted weights more like a bodybuilder, a power lifter, not realizing that as a heavyweight that's not really necessary. I'm naturally strong. I mean, my freshman year of high school, I pulled 500 pounds on a deadlift. I don't need to get really that much stronger. But doing pull-ups, push-ups, burpees, jumping over boxes, those are things that are difficult for somebody my size. So that's when I realized that if I wanted to be a unique athlete, as a heavyweight, I needed to move like a little guy. And it's warranted me so much benefit in the jiu-jitsu world and in the grappling world. Why wouldn't I box and train like that? Well, the problem with that is, my coach in boxing, Angelo Reyes, very much follows Freddie Roach style, Manny Pacquiao, a lot of in and out footwork and kind of the stance. To do that, you have to be agile and move your weight around. So it really doesn't matter if I can deadlift 600 pounds for 3 reps, but how much can I jump around in and out? Can I jump over and move my weight? Can I do a cartwheel? Can I do a back handspring? And I actually even have another coach, Uli Haju, who's trying to teach me gymnastics, because if you ever watch our warm-up at Bournemouth, the kids are, we're doing back handsprings, front flips, I'm trying to learn how to do that, Ricky, the other day we're on a trampoline, I'm doing front back flips into a throwing hip. Not that I'm ever going to do that in a fight, but that body awareness, you've seen tonight, I take a shot, move, balance, things that being hit by Todd Duffee, I was able to keep my feet under me. I attribute to a lot of the agility work that I've been doing and trying to become more agile. And that I think is unique as a heavyweight. Every heavyweight can bench press a lot, every heavyweight can lift, but can you, do a cartwheel? Can you do a handstand? Those are things that I'm trying to do as a heavyweight that I think will make me